Hello, everyone. Welcome back to FPL Fran. A couple members have joined as well on the live stream. So, welcome to BNVR24. Welcome to Oscar Papa. Thank you for both being managers. I did read the message, Henry, as well on Discord. So, thanks for shouting that out. Definitely going to change that on Discord as well. So, anyone who is a member, anyways, do feel free to contact me on Discord. You can always just drop me a DM there. I do respond to my message requests. Same with Twitter as well, if you prefer that platform as well, just to get in touch. But just before I get started with the stream, I'm going to quickly update the Hall of Fame animation. So just give me 2 seconds. How's everyone doing today? Are we waiting for some Man City news potentially? This is a pretty big day, I would say, for Man City news potentially. All right, Hall of Fame animations updated. Let's just have a look at chat. Good morning, Fran says #88. Pickford plus Virgil plus Havertz or Raya, Branthwaite, Luis Diaz. I actually kind of like Raya, Branthwaite, Luis Diaz just because, more faith in the Arsenal defense anyways. Virgil's a little bit expensive. If I can get Luis Diaz, considering that Havertz also has slightly shakier minutes, I think Luis Diaz makes sense. I also think that Luis Diaz's minutes are better than Darwin's. So with that kind of context, I think it's good. Branthwaite, still nice in the sense that you can actually afford that Arsenal defense over, for example, the Liverpool defense, and that's pretty much it. NDM says, should I downgrade Saka / Foden to Gordon so that I can afford Muniz to either Jackson / Hoyland? Honestly, I wouldn't downgrade Saka today, but obviously if Foden's out, right, if Foden's benched, then yeah, it makes sense to sort of downgrade. Oscar says, good morning, Fran. What to do about Foden? Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing about switching on Foden is I'd probably need to know your strategy first, because I'd say with Foden, if let's say you have a free at 34, then you probably can skip the Arsenal transfer, as in you don't have to necessarily go for Saka. You could probably instead go for some of the other players who will be playing doubles going forward. So for example, you can go one transfer ahead of the rest of the field with, for example, like a Brennan Johnson transfer, even though it's not a great fixture. Or, of course, you just go for something like a Bruno transfer, something that's a little bit, or rather like a Garnacho transfer, something that's a little bit half in, half out. Gordon works as well. This way, you can actually get a doubler on Gameweek 37, or of course, in the case of Johnson, you're getting a doubler for 35 and 37. Or Bruno, for example, just has great fixtures up until 37 too. So something to think about. But I would only move away from Foden if he's benched. If we find out today that Foden's starting, there's absolutely no way I'd be recommending that you go out of Foden. Samuel says, thinking he captains Tony. I think Tony's a great differential this week. So, for example, I'm captaining Haaland, but if Haaland, let's say, gets benched, I'd probably go Salah. But I can understand a lot of people who, for example, have Salah in their team, but also Tony would be considering Tony as well. So I would probably still go Salah, in my opinion, but once again, as a differential captain, and if you have Tony as a unique sort of pick, I can't see why it would be a bad pick at all. I mean, I might even change my captaincy on stream as well, but it just really just depends on whether we get that news that Haaland starts, basically. Because the way I see captaincy this week, I'd probably say it's probably Haaland and Salah than Tony, but as you can see, obviously Tony up there as a top 3 captain, despite this being actually a pretty good week for Palmer as well, right? He's at home, and so on and so forth. So that's something to think about. With Saka as well, I mean, he's up there too, but I don't think Saka's going to play that many minutes. We also saw him limp off in the Champions League, so yeah, I'm not really seeing him going to play the full 90, for example, as he would usually do in most matches. All right, going back to chat. Have I used my free hit? Yes, I did. I did free hit in 29. Mila says, should I downgrade Moreno? I have Gabriel, Branthwaite, Goostones. Yeah, I think you should definitely downgrade Moreno. Moreno's just not good value for the rest of the season, basically. Can't see why you'd want to keep him. Foden versus Sarabia. Once again, it depends on your strategy, right? If you're free at 34, obviously Foden's way clear. If you're not, Sarabia's actually very helpful. But I wouldn't drop Foden, for example, until we get the news that he's benched. I mean, he scored Kieran, so I'm not sure if you can argue that he's. Well, I mean, he didn't get the penalty, if you want to put it like that. But yeah, Kyle Turnborn says, "Hi, Fran. Hope you're doing well. Sell Bradley or Aitnuri this week, dude. Honestly, I think I'd keep both. I know you're free at 34. Maybe sell Ait Nuri. Because I'm thinking, nah, fine. You kind of have to sell Bradley. But you're free at 34 anyway, so it's like, you have to transfer both of them in the future, right? And I just think Bradley probably actually is a better fixture this week than Ait Nuri. So I'd probably actually go Bradley and play Bradley this week than just sell Ait Nuri. I know it doesn't sound great because Ait Nuri is such a good pick. Since there's also a little bit of doubt and uncertainty over Ait Nuri, I think, it just makes sense to sell him, considering you're going to free hit. Yassine says, hi, Fran. Choose 2 players in this game week. Burn, Branthwaite, Dubravka, or Pickford. Pickford. I think I'd still go Dubravka, to be honest. Yeah, I'd probably actually just go your Newcastle player since they're at home. Do I still play FPL Challenge? Unfortunately, not. I did find it a little bit like it actually requires too much activity, in my opinion, on deadlines, and I don't love it too much. Tony, hope you're well. Free at 34, Petrovic 37. Yeah, Petrovic for Kaminsky, Guardiola for Richards, and depending on team news, you can even do Madison to De Bruyne or Foden if he looks like starting. You'd still keep Madison, not do the mid-trans. Yeah, look, the thing about Madison is just that for someone who's going to have these Spurs fixtures going forwards, I can't see why Madison's a transfer out. Unless, for example, one of your plans is to, let's say, go Madison to someone like Brennan Johnson. My concern, of course, is that Spurs have a lot of fixtures. And yes, they're all bad fixtures, but it doesn't mean that Spurs are incapable of scoring. Like, if anything, we've seen in the bigger games this season that Spurs have scored plenty versus, your Arsenals, your Liverpools, your Cities. So I wouldn't be too worried about holding Madison. It doesn't really scream to me as a bad hold. Hi, Fran. Do you think Kambuala is worth it? I mean, look, I would need to see him start a couple games in a row. He played very well, especially, in that sort of matchup versus Darwin. But, I've got to see more before we even jump onto it. Because, yes, of course, you're going to get Sheffield United at home soon. But I'd rather see, for example, how United played this week, whether he plays as a part of that. And then we can sort of make that decision. Do you think Foden to Jota is a good punt? Your wildcard 35. Foden to Jota is not a good punt, in my opinion, because I don't think Jota is going to start this week. I know it feels fun to wildcard 35, but it's like, I'd rather go Foden to Mbumo. If we found out Foden's benched and you don't really care about the Game Week 34 player, I'd rather go Mbumo. But yeah, I still think it's a bad punt per se. I prefer Luis Diaz just because I think Luis Diaz is much more likely going to play serious minutes that are very valuable going forwards. Jim's actually in the dilemma of, and thank you for the super chat as well, Jim. Madison to Johnson or keep Madison and buy City defender Augusto. You're free at 34, so your next transfers would then be Gordon / Isak and Petrovic. Yep, that's a fair point. I think I'd still probably buy a City defender ultimately, because I feel like over the next few weeks it's very hard to sort of accumulate the players we want. So if you're doing a side grade as one of those transfers, I think it's probably going to hamper your team a little bit. So kind of going back to even Tony's team, for example, going Madison to Johnson, it might be necessary. So one thing I need to ask, of course, is whether that money in the bank would actually make much stronger moves for you later down the line. But of course, if you can go for a City defender this week, I mean, I think that's the play over Gusto as well. Dr. Samir, buy Havertz, sell Foden, or start with Sarabia. I'd probably just start Sarabia. I think Sarabia's got a decent game as an attacking fixture. I wouldn't be too worried about him at all. Steve says, hi, Fran. Cunha or Isak have Darwin and Tony planned for wildcard in 35. I'd say Cunha at this point. You've got 3 fixtures, and he's most likely starting today. Lucas says, shall I bench boost Scott Kelleher, Gusto, Senesi, Sarabia? Who's your other goalkeeper? I guess, okay, you've just described to me your bench. I mean, Senesi might play because Metham, I think, is Chris Metham is actually sick, right? That's not a bad bench boost, It's not a bad bench boost. Yeah, I would actually consider it. I would consider it. You've got 9 mil in 2 transfers, 1 forward and 1 mid. What do I suggest? I mean, this is a good week still to go Salah if you have the cash to go Salah. If you want to wait for Man City news, it's not a bad week to go De Bruyne potentially. But I think De Bruyne is a little bit more of a punt. So I'd say if you've got a wild card in the back pocket, consider De Bruyne a bit more. Sean as well, thank you so much for your super chat. Really appreciate that. If you've got any questions in the chat, do feel free to let me know, and I can hopefully answer them. Hash88, I'm just going to put you in timeout. Unfortunately, try not to spam the chat. I prefer Luis Diaz personally over Havertz, and that's as simple as that. Just because, like, with Havertz, you've got much more alternatives within the Arsenal team, whereas with Luis Diaz, I actually think that he's one of the better Liverpool picks, you know, that I would definitely move into. And no bias, of course, because he's in my team. As a follow-up question, Carl says, would you play Bradley over Gusto? Yeah, I'd easily play Bradley and Guardiola this week. I think it's the week to do so. I'm just going to quickly try and have a look and see if we have any leaks potentially today. So let's have a look. Can't really see it. I do think Haaland will start today, so I'm not too worried about that, if I'm honest. Team leaks wise, we still have nothing, unfortunately. So yeah, that's kind of unlucky. I'm just going to quickly check. Oh well, nah, it's unfortunate. I don't think I actually see any potential leaks. Did I miss your super chat? I'm sorry about that. Yeah, no, sorry. I was reading the leaks. BNVR20, you sent a message on Twitter. Awesome. I'll have a look at that in a moment. Jim as well, thank you for your super chat. Thank you, BNVR as well. Thanks for being a member too. Message request. All right, so yeah, I can actually see your message request now on Twitter. So you're saying you became a member. Yep, awesome, thank you. Currently 75 points behind. You've got free at 34, wildcard 35, bench boost 37, 2 free transfers. All of us have already spent their wildcard or free hit, so I have a bit of an edge. But I want to go big with 1 punt. You know, honestly, I've got to say, your team is still in a good position to not free hit 34. Like, you've got Saka, Salah, Garnacho, in my opinion, who have good fixtures. Then you've got Gabriel. To be fair, Bradley will probably only play 1 fixture. I can see why you want to free at 34 ultimately. Yeah, that's fine. But then the question, I suppose, is that you're just purely punting for this week then. So, So you've got Tony already, which is great. I think you can definitely sell Madison. This is a bad fixture for Madison. I think this is the week to sell Madison too, considering your situation. Defensively, you can play Bradley, you can play Gabriel, but you probably need a third defender as well. You've got Raya, who's great. So yeah, I agree. One mid transfer to get rid of Madison, and then one transfer to get rid of a defender. I think Reguilon and Bumo is probably the play here. I'm trying to think of other midfielders. I mean, you've mentioned obviously the Arsenal ones, but I've got to be honest. I think I would try and go for the Mbumo punt personally. Either that, or I would just go with yeah, maybe Odegaard probably. I think it's Odegaard or Mbumo. Luis Diaz isn't a bad punt either as well though, in that situation. Yeah, I'll respond to the other super chats, but just to manage your team here. Salah captain's also a good captain to chase with. Yeah, no complaints about that. And that should hopefully be it. Thanks, BNVR. Grizzler. Pau, Doughty, Zabarni are -4. Yeah, I mean, I don't think I'd want to be playing Doughty this week, if I'm honest. So if you can play Zabarni, I think that's fine. I mean, you could just play Zabarni. Are you telling me that you're fielding Pau, Doughty, Zabarni, or are you telling me to just pick one of them to play? Because if you need to replace, let's say, I don't know, Pau or Doughty, then yeah, I'd take that -4 probably this week. Dan says, if you don't have Haaland, who are the best captains? I think Salah's the best captain by far. Then it's actually, well, not by far necessarily. I think Tony's pretty close. You've also, let's see, if we get a leak, for example, that let's say De Bruyne or Foden is starting, I think they become great captaincy options too. But yeah, I think let's start with Tony first after Salah, and then potentially a Man City pick. Yeah, and I'd probably call it a day there, because I think if you find out that a Man City pick starts, then you're in a good spot. All right, going back to just regular chat. Start Foden or bench. Zach, I mean, let's just try and see. I mean, I would start him now, but I think we need to just react to leaks whenever we get the leaks, basically, is the position that we find ourselves in. Should I start Garnacho or Muniz? I'd probably start Muniz. I think Muniz has got a slightly better fixture. Grizzler says, who's the best defender to get right now with the 4.6 budget? It depends in what your situation is, right? Because I think if you look at my cheat sheet, for example, the cheat sheet kind of illustrates, for me, the best picks, but it also depends on your strategy. So it depends on whether you're free at 34, it depends on whether you're not free at 34. So for example, if you have a free at 34, I think some of the best defenders right now would just be to get, your Burns, your Van Hex of the world, potentially Gusto. Reguilon isn't half bad either, but defender this week as well, if you have a free at 34, it's not too bad to just simply go for, once again, your Branthwaite's or your Tarkovskis, because yes, of course, it's a bad game on paper for Gameweek 34. Maybe Reguilon's the one, though, because Reguilon would get Sheffield United here. He'd get Luton next week. Those are two pretty good fixtures. Otherwise, of course, you've got room for, your Branthwaite's, your Tarkovskis as well, who have a double on Gameweek 34 and then a really good fixture on Gameweek 37 once again. So pretty good Everton defense for the rest of the season, I would say. Start Foden or Darwin. I think I'd just start Darwin at this point. Well, no, I'd start Foden. Once again, depending on leaks. Start Foden, but then I'd bench Darwin if we find out that Foden starts. Assuming no leaks. Yeah, I mean, assuming no leaks, I actually expect Foden to get benched. So that's why I'm kind of telling people, yeah, I think if Darwin is as strong as the bench that you have, I think you should play Darwin over Foden, just about, if we don't get a leak. But if we get a leak, obviously you've got to start Foden over Darwin. If we get a leak that Foden starts. Le Luna, hope you're well. Darwin / Garnacho / Solanke, start 2. I'd start Solanke and Darwin personally. Start Gusto or Ait Nuri. I'd start Ait Nuri. Hey, Fran, start 1 from Hwang and Muniz. I'd start Muniz because I'm not sure Hwang starts. How about selling Saka for Foden? I don't think selling Saka for Foden makes any sense. Good morning, FPL Diamond. Hope you're doing well. FPL Fran, who's the teams to target on a wild card? What do you mean? A wild card for this week? Or like what wild card are you talking about? Game Week 33 wild card. Do you have a free hit left? Would you buy Rico Lewis if no free hit or wild card? No, I think it's a bit too risky to go Rico Lewis. I actually think Rico Lewis will start for sure. My transfer plan is to roll this week to get an Everton defender next week and then to move on. Start free, Dan Watson says. Reguilon, Saliba, Gusto, Gabriel. I'd start Reguilon for sure. I'd start Saliba and Gabriel. Yeah, I would just bench Gusto, my friend. I think it's quite simple. True Fandela says Gabriel, Ryan Nuri, Zaba, Mo, Son Palmer. Okay. Something to change bench order. I think you've got your team correct in terms of... To be honest, I don't mind Branthwaite over Zabarni just because of how bad this Chelsea team is. But yeah, I can understand playing Zabarni. Saka, Palmer, Son, Solanke, I think that's fine. Yeah, look, I can't complain. Sarabia benches doesn't feel great, but he's a great pick. But yeah, I'd bench him. Something to change? Nah, I think it's fine. Bench order is fine as well. I think you've done well there. Good luck this week, True Fandela. And sorry, I think I did miss out a chat question as well. Ali Hussein says bench 1 Garnacho Muniz. I'd probably just bench. In this situation, I'd bench Garnacho. So I'd still go with the riskier player in terms of Muniz because less people own him and it's quite fun. Marvy, you said you're wildcarding this week. I mean, if I'm being honest, I don't love wildcarding this week. I don't think it's great strategy because the unfortunate situation is that, well, I mean, you'd be in the same situation as me, wouldn't you? Like you'd have to have, your eggs half in the Arsenal and Liverpool basket, and then you'd also have to kind of look ahead towards, Spurs and Chelsea players very, very quickly. Like if I was wildcarding today and I had no chips left, my team would probably have I'd still probably think that I would go Salah. I imagine. I'd probably have Petrovic as my keeper, but I'm not sure if I can trust him to play the game. So maybe I could go Vicario. I'd still probably need a Gameweek 34 keeper. That could be Henderson or Raya, depending on whether you have money. I think Henderson is probably a good sort of cost-saving option. I'd probably still go Arsenal double defense, like I'd probably still go Saliba Gabriel. I'd probably go Branthwaite just to keep in my back pocket. I'd probably go Guardiola. I'm not sure if I'd go Virgil. Maybe I wouldn't. I'd probably skip Virgil. Because with Gabriel, Saliba, and Branthwaite, you've got your 34 doublers. Maybe you just keep a Spurs defender in your back pocket. Salah, Palmer, definitely in the team. Saka probably in the team again. Son, maybe Bruno, or maybe just Garnacho if you can just afford Garnacho. I'd probably drop Haaland, though, unironically, on a wild card. I'd probably go Isak, Solanke, Darwin. And then maybe you can create a team around that. So that's kind of the core of players that I kind of like. And then you can roll on Gameweek 34. On Gameweek 35, what you'll probably do is just bring in a Spurs defender if you haven't already, and then someone like Nico Jackson potentially from Solanke. And I think that's a pretty good sort of wildcard 33 trajectory. TV, no worries. I did not miss your super chat there, but thank you so much for the super chat as well. So your bench boost for your head-to-head. Reguilon, Flecken, Senesi, Garnacho. That's a great bench boost. But your squad is Dubravka, Gabriel, Zabarni, Bradley, Saka, Foden, Salah. Yeah, I mean, in your situation, I think you just need to monitor the Foden leak, right? Because if Foden is benched, that's a tricky situation that you need to deal with. And yeah. Foden apparently has trained. Yeah. I don't know whether Foden starts, to be honest. Maybe he will. But I just think that it's such a short turnaround. Maybe he plays like limited minutes. We all need to sort of stay tuned, and hopefully one of the Man City leakers online will give us the go ahead, really. I hope we also get a leak about Haaland starting, because I think if we don't get news that Haaland starts leak wise, then I think it's a good sort of position to move into your Salah captaincy. Not a bad week really to do so. Yeah. Apparently Ake and Walker has still not been in training. So, for the people who want to go to Guardiola, for the people who want to punt on Rico Lewis, even though I still think it's a bit unwise, there's something to think about as well in terms of your Man City defender picks to go for. I'm going to quickly check if we have any other news as well. Unfortunately, I don't think we've got any deadline news today. So that's unfortunate, but it is what it is. All right, quickly going back to chat. Good morning, David. David says, Fran, if Alvarez is leaked to start, I don't really like going Alvarez because unless you're wildcarding on 35, but I still don't like an Alvarez punt, honestly. Like, I think it's pretty boring. I mean, even if Alvarez is leaked to start, it still doesn't mean that Haaland's going to be benched, right? So, Alvarez without penalties, without playing center forward, I don't think is worthwhile as a player. Hi, Fran, would you start Gordon or Foden? I'd probably start Foden just to take the risk and hope that he either plays 0-90. Because this isn't a great Gordon game, so it's not like you've got someone who just has an amazing fixture just sitting on the bench waiting for it, right? What about Foden? I've sort of explained what I said. Dan says, hey, mate, another one for your bench one. I would play Solanke for sure. I'd play Tony as well. I think I'd bench Gordon personally. Yeah, I think I'd bench Gordon. I prefer, I prefer my home fixtures as well. I know Gordon's obviously at home, but it's still Tottenham, to be fair. So I'd take this opportunity to probably just play Darwin. I do think it's actually between Darwin and Gordon, as opposed to Solanke, because Solanke's at least on penalties, which is massive. And he's also versus a pretty poor United defense. Now, Spurs defense has been bad. But I just have a pretty high level of confidence in the Liverpool offense as well, which is still a step above the Newcastle offense. So I think it's between the two of them. Personally, I think Gordon's the safer play, but Darwin obviously slightly riskier in the sense that, he could play 90 minutes of football, which would be huge. Or, of course, he gets subbed off early like he did in the Europa League, which is not so good. So it really depends on your risk appetite, I would say. Maybe it's actually safer to bench Darwin. When am I planning on bench boosting? I'd still bench boost on 37. All things considered right now with my team. Why an Everton defender over Wolves defender, given that Wolves have good remaining fixtures? Well, the key thing is that when you're bench boosting on 37, an Everton defender is amazing on 37. Second of all, Aït-Nouri is probably going to drop deeper, which means that he'll get worse as a pick. Wolves are also nowhere near the level of defense as an Everton defense. And Everton, in my opinion, still have better defensive fixtures. They also have 2 home fixtures on 34, whereas Wolves, unfortunately, do face Arsenal as one of those fixtures. So my confidence in terms of Wolves' defense is very low generally, but Aït-Nouri, of course, is an amazing pick right now. Ahmed says Son to Kai Havertz or Muniz to Isak for -4. I think I prefer Son to Kai Havertz because that way you can also sort of, ignore your hit as well, which I think is quite nice. Hi, Fran. I'm in a pickle. Can you please check Discord? I can have a look at Discord, yeah. I don't know what your chip strategy is. Your team's actually in a really good spot. I'd probably consider just getting a stronger player than Muniz. If you've got a wild card in the back pocket, I'd probably just play someone ahead of Muniz. If you've got a room for a defensive transfer, I don't think Reguilon's a bad transfer at all, instead of Pau. And maybe you can play Pau, like Reguilon over Aït-Nouri. But it's up to you, though, obviously. I know you might not want to back double Brentford. But yeah, with 2 free transfers, if you've got a wild card left, like, oh, sorry, you still have free hit and bench boost. I mean, yeah, I guess the question can be asked to whether you want to keep Son within your team, going forwards. Because maybe, let's say, by going out of Son, you can also go out of Muniz into, let's say, a very strong forward, potentially like Isak and, let's see, like if you go Isak, you could also go for, what midfielder would you be going for at this moment in time? You got triple Arsenal. You could go Luis Diaz with it, but then it doesn't feel great because you've got a free hit. Like Son is just such a good hold. Maybe in this situation, honestly, you should probably do keeper transfers. Maybe just change Neto around, change Pau around. Like you can change Pau to an Everton defender. Now you can't because you don't need 34. I'd probably say Pau to Burn isn't bad. Even Senesi out isn't bad. Neto out isn't bad either. So I think because you've got a free at 34 anyways, your team's strong going forwards. You want to keep Son. I think this is a good week to probably transfer out a Neto, transfer out a Pau, sort of build the back of your bench boost for Gameweek 37. You know what I mean? All right, going back to chat questions. Espen, thank you for the super chat. If Foden is bench, sell Foden or Richarlison. I'd still sell. It depends on whether you're free at 34 or not. I'd probably still sell Richarlison, honestly. Because I think Richarlison, this knee issue is quite significant. I think Foden is just going to be a great pick going forward. So I'd probably sell Richarlison first. Should quickly check the private chat as well. All right, quickly going back to chat. Sorry, guys, I'm just managing whether we also get some team news as well on the side. Breaking Holland starts. Okay, come on. I don't even believe that. Nice try, though. We haven't had any leaks so far on Holland Foden, just to let people know. Just to let people know, we don't have any leaks so far. Jesus apparently is still quite hurt. So that actually bodes quite well for people. Excuse me, going for Havertz. Obviously, that bodes quite well. We still have no news at all, as far as I can see. And we have 29 minutes to go. And Tony's probably one of the few managers in the world who can actually give us that leak. So all eyes will be on Tony as well. Alrighty. Hi, Fran. Would you go Son to Salah? I probably would, yeah. I think that's a good transfer. Like, if you have a wild card, though. Holland, KDB, Alvarez starts. No, that's not true. We don't have any leaks so far on Man City as far as I'm aware. Which two out of Solanke, Sarabi, and Garnacho, Fran? I'd probably actually go Garnacho, Solanke. Actually, no, I'd go Sarabia, Solanke. I'll take both my penalty takers there. Take both my penalty takers. Start Gusto or Porro. I'd probably go Gusto, Vedant. Start Konsa or Charlie Taylor. I'd probably. I mean, Pau Torres just has. I'd probably start Taylor reluctantly. Sarabi or Darwin. I'd probably still start Darwin. What do you think about Son captain, considering the amount of shots? I mean, look, the thing is, Son is still away from home, which I don't really like too much. Yeah. I reckon the situation we're in, we're probably just going to, we're probably just going to go from the home captaincies this week. Bohemian says, what do you think about Son captain? Oh, sorry, I've read that one already. Start Madison or Muniz? I'd probably still start. Tough one there. I'd probably start Muniz, actually, just because Madison's minutes recently have been a bit poor. And they're both away from home. Muniz, at least, you could argue, could be on penalties as well. Actually, let's do a quick poll, because I'm kind of curious what people think. Would you still captain Holland if we had no leak? Let's just do a no leak poll. Let's have a look at the no leak poll here. Be curious to see what you guys actually would do if we didn't get a leak. Sorry, guys, I misspelled captaincy as well. Apologies about that. Is Ait Nuri playing? I can't confirm that. He was in training, so it seems like he's fine. But I can't confirm that he starts. I think Guardiola should start, because the reality is Walker, Ake is still injured. John Stones had an issue last game, so I can't see why in any world Guardiola can't play, unless the groin issue is aggravated in training and we don't know about it. A lot of people still seem to be pretty comfortably on Haaland or Salah, which is fine. Bring in Reguilon or Saliba. I think I'd just prefer Saliba. Watkins or Muniz. I think Watkins will ghost in a big game. Yeah, I'd go Muniz. It's just a tough game for Watkins. Big game or not, it's still just an awful defense to go against. Best bone replacement. I mean, it depends on what strategy you're going for. I'd probably say like a Luis Diaz or a Havertz is pretty interesting. Start Gordon over Foden. I'd probably start. Maybe I'd start Gordon over Foden. Yeah, I think so. If we don't get a leak, I'd probably start Gordon over Foden. Gusto or Bradley, I'd start Bradley for sure, just because I think he's going to start. It seems like Trent's actually not even ready to play. I'm so sorry. Did I miss the super chat? Those twins, apologies, mate. Douglas Louis, and thank you so much for the super chat too. Douglas Luiz and Doughty out for who? Best picks, bench boost. Are you bench boost 34? Is that what you're saying? So at the Douglas Luiz price range, I don't really mind going into Sarabi or Garnacho, obviously, because The reason why is Garnacho just has a great fixture on Gameweek 34 anyway. So that's a really nice single fixture. I don't really mind Garnacho, let's be honest. So one of them for Dos Luis. As far as Doughty out, since you're bench boosting on 34, honestly, I'd probably still go. I'd probably still go for, if you can go Ait Nuri, I would. It's a bit risky, of course. He might not start, but I still think it's very strong for the bench boost. Or you just go for your Everton defender and just kind of hold an Everton defender, which is going to be very helpful for the rest of the season. I hope that helps. Is Akanji a good pick for City defender? I think so, yeah. I think he's a very safe defender because he's going to play right back as long as Walker's still injured. Do you like Solanke to Isak? Free at 34, bench boost 37. I do, actually, yeah. I do generally quite like it. Start Foden or Garnacho? Garnacho just doesn't have a great fixture. So in that situation, I'd probably still start Foden. Abdullah, thank you so much for your super chat. Cunha or Garnacho? I'd probably go Cunha. It's close though. Any City leaks? Nope. Nope. The poll has ended as well. Haaland is clear on 60%. Some people wanting to punt on Salah, so that's fine. I generally might swap my captaincy around if we don't get a Haaland leak. But I don't know, this is such a good fixture. Like I can't see Haaland missing it. I mean, and what running has he done recently anyways? No, I'm just kidding, but actually, no. It's a pretty close captaincy, I can't lie. It's a pretty close captaincy. Best goalkeeper for the rest of the season, I'd still say I mean, if you're not disincluding any of the weeks, I'd say Raya for sure. Because I can't guarantee. I mean, Ederson's not bad either, though. Ederson's not bad either. If you think Ederson starts this fixture, I think Ederson's not bad either. But for cost and for everything, like I think Petrovic, I'm not sure if he keeps his spot. Honestly, that's a small concern that I have. But Raya, I think, is probably the safest bet. Like you can't go wrong with Raya for the rest of the season. Mbumo or Muniz, I'd go Mbumo for sure. You've got Kelleher and Areola. Should I do Areola to Flecken? I would just play Kelleher, mate. I don't know if Allison's just going to start. You demand a leak from FPL Tony, so do I. Any City leaks? We haven't got any City leaks so far, unfortunately. Marvy says Isak or Garnacho this fixture. I'd go Isak for sure. Lurendran says only one free transfer. Wondering whether it's better to move this week. Pau to either White or Saliba, and maybe -4. I would probably keep it. Yeah, like I would want to get rid of Taylor. So I agree with the defensive transfer. I would just go for White or Saliba. I'd probably go with Saliba just for safety. But if you want some risk, obviously White is there. Yeah. We still haven't got any Tony time leaks, unfortunately. Foden and Haaland start. Foden and Haaland start. Foden and Haaland start. Foden and Haaland start. That is huge. Huge news. Foden and Haaland start. Let's just pin that in the chat. That is major news. I'm just going to quickly pin it in chat as well. That is massive. Wow. Fair enough. That's crazy. How let's see everyone's moves. Foden or Saka? I think I'd go Foden if you knew Foden starts. Muniz to Darwin. So Son to Foden. I think Son to Foden is a pretty fun transfer right now. Yeah. Pick two. Abdurrahman says pick two of them. Nunez, Watkins, Muniz. I'd go Nunez, Watkins, Nunez, Muniz. Sorry. Is McAllister worth it? I don't think so. I mean, he's good in the sense that if you really want someone for the next 2 weeks and you're dead ending anyways, like it's a good transfer. Also, so many of you guys in chat, if you guys could like and subscribe, I'd absolutely love it. Thank you guys so much for supporting the channel too. Start Bradley or Nuri. I'd probably start Bradley. That's cap. It's not cap though. It's Lazy FPL confirmed it, so that's a pretty big leak for us. It's a pretty big leak. That is a huge piece of news. Yep, that is the truth. At least it's been confirmed by Lazy FPL. Nuri or Gusto to start. I think I'd still go with Nuri, to be honest, because I think Chelsea defense kind of reek right now. Would you sell Muniz to Alvarez? No, I would not. Why would you want to get Alvarez if you knew Haaland was going to start? Like Alvarez is just an inherently worse FPL player. Is Lazy FPL trustworthy? I think they're trustworthy. They did get City News wrong once. They did get it wrong once. Is Haaland worth a -8? I don't think so. I think I would just captain Salah in that situation, mate. Hi, bro. Should I sell Son and get KDB? You don't have Haaland. I don't even know if KDB starts, my friend. So I can't even answer that. I mean, why not go Son to Foden potentially? Start Van Heck or Zabarny. I'd go Van Heck personally. Fixture wise, is Foden worth the captaincy? Yeah, if you want to consider a Foden captaincy, I think he's interesting now. Guardiola should start as far as I'm aware. Muniz or Garnacho. Muniz or Garnacho, I'd probably go Muniz personally. It's pretty close. Start Garnacho or Solanke. I think I'd go Solanke. Home player, penalties, can't go wrong. Son to Luis Diaz, I still think that's a nice move. Son to, for example, an Arsenal midfielder or Liverpool midfielder, if you're planning, to navigate Gameweek 34 without a free hit, I think it's a perfectly fine transfer, guys. Haaland captain, Isak vice captain, that's fine with me. Hi, Fran. Odegaard out to get a second Nah, I wouldn't go out of Odegaard. I think Odegaard's such a good pick. What's the reason to really go out of him? Yep. Foden and Haaland starts. Obviously, see the pinned message, guys. That's huge. Start Aitnuri or Gusto. I'd probably go Aitnuri. Muniz or Sarabia. I'd probably go Sarabia, to be honest, because he's a penalty taker, and I really like that. Joe, or John Wick, sorry, says, hi, Fran. 2 best 1 week punts before wildcard. If you're talking about this week, I think your Mbumo is very interesting. Potentially Havertz is interesting. Luis Diaz is interesting. Defensively, it's not very pretty. I think you still want to go with a City defender potentially or an Arsenal defender. But yeah, I think I mean once again Reguilon. So your Sheffield United playing Brentford players are probably most interesting. Thank you, Moez, for liking and subscribing. What do you think will Hwang start? I think Hwang will start one of the fixtures in Gameweek 34. But yeah, I can't really confirm right now, which game he's going to start. Because if you look at the way Cunha, for example, has been managed, like very unlikely that Hwang will just be thrown in there. Lewis punt. I think Rico Lewis is a nice punt. But I prefer Rico Lewis as a 1 game week punt. If you're going for a multiple game week pick, if you want someone to bench boost on 37, I'm not sure Rico Lewis is the one, personally. Like, I'd have much more confidence in Guardiola. Which 2-3 alternatives to bring this week for Aitnuri? You plan for Wildcard 35. Personally, oh, sorry, there was a super chat as well. Carty95, thank you so much for your support. Sell Saka or Madison to Foden. I like Madison. I'd still go. You know why? Because I think you can still go for other Spurs midfielders later down the line. I think I'd still go out of Madison. I'd still go out of I'd go out of Madison to Foden. Um, yeah, tough one there. Tony hasn't posted today. Tony has not posted today. Main Road has confirmed that Haaland, Foden, and Guardiola starts. Main Road has confirmed. Massive, massive for our team. So that's pretty big news for us altogether. Pretty gigantic news for us FPL managers. But really nice to get Guardiola starting. I think Rico should start. I don't know. I'm trying to look at leaks, guys. Sorry. Tony says Foden, Haaland, and Rico Lewis starts. So Rico Lewis does start. Foden, Haaland confirmed by everyone, basically. All three leakers have said Foden, Haaland starts. Tamiz, thank you so much for your super chat as well. Didn't miss that out, so really appreciate that super chat too. So Guardiola and yeah, crazy news today with Foden starting as well. So that's massive as well, just in general, because I mean, if we talk about Foden, for example, him starting today just makes him such a good 1 week punt for a lot of people. So for all the people asking about a 1 week punt, Foden for me, I would prefer over Mbumo. But yeah, Foden first, then Mbumo would be my best 1 week punts. Tony's obviously pretty good, all things considered for this week. I'd probably not care about KDB at this point. KDB kind of breaks apart your team structure anyways. So that's pretty big news though, for all of us FPL managers today. Foden starting is pretty big news. All right, moving on. Let's see. Chat-wise. Man, a lot of you guys here, 727 of you. If you guys could like and subscribe, would love that. Questions in chat though. John Wick says, play Bradley or Saliba. Whoa, you have to choose. I mean, I wouldn't go for an extra defender then in your situation. If you can make the decision between playing Bradley or Saliba, I probably wouldn't care about it so much. I just play Bradley, I think. Vladimir, hope you're well. Oh no, I missed the message. There's too much in the chat. So you said Doughty to Bradley or Reguilon or at Nuri and start Garnacho Muniz. I'd probably start Muniz personally. You're bench boosting next week. I'd probably go Reguilon then, because Reguilon actually has, because Bradley for me is not going to play the next two fixtures next week. I think Reguilon's quite nice because he's got Luton at least, but I think Ait Nuri probably gives you the most guarantees, so I'd actually say Ait Nuri probably. I think it's between Ait Nuri or Reguilon at least. I think Bradley's too risky now. Gabriel and Saliba and Lewis, nice, that's really amazing. Guardiola does start. I don't know about Ortega, guys. I don't know about Ortega. I know that Lewis and Guardiola starts as well. Lewis and Guardiola. So Lewis and Guardiola start. I'll put that in the chat. Hey, Fran, start Ait Nuri or Gusto. I'd still go Ait Nuri. I need some mods. Yeah, I definitely do. My mod is unfortunately away today, so I'll try and get some mods in. Maybe if any of the members in the chat, if you guys like moderating, do let me know. Drop me a DM. I'd really appreciate if you guys could moderate for me. Anoni's Son to Foden, Pau to Guardiola. I think those are great moves. Can't complain about that. Also have to put you in timeout though, because you've been spamming the chat, my friend. Canan, try not to use emojis, mate, please. Hi, Fran. Son to Luis Diaz or Foden. I would go Son to Foden. I mean, you don't have chips left. I'd probably still go Luis Diaz. But yeah, try not to use emojis, please. Gautam says he's got Poro playing. Worth it? Nah, it's not worth the hit, my friend. I would just play Poro because Poro is always such a good attacking pick. You know, I can't complain. Like, yeah, I still think it's good to sort of sidestep that. OR 175K. Oh, sorry, I missed that message. The chat is absolutely buzzing. Is Tony starting? Is Tony starting? I think Tony's starting. I can't see why he wouldn't get rested if he got rested 2 games in a row, that'd be so weird. I think he starts. Which 2/3 alternatives to bring this week instead of Aitnuri? It's tough because a lot of the people who actually play on Gameweek 34 just don't. I think I would say Virgil then. Virgil or Arsenal defense, you know. I don't really have any other responses outside of that. Start Sarabia or Saka with X-Men's risk. I would go Saka. Psyops, thank you for the message. Which three would I start? I'd go White, Gabriel, Virgil very easily. Hamad, thank you for your super chat. Ariola / Dubravka to a 4.8 goalkeeper for the double. Yeah, I think you could actually go for could probably go for Pickford or Henderson, honestly. Henderson, in my opinion, has the best 2 fixtures in the double. So I would probably go Henderson. Is Ederson starting? Let me have a look. I can't confirm that. So all we have so far is Foden, Haaland, Lewis. Sorry, guys. I'm trying to manage potential, just checking for leaks and checking group chats, just exhausting all my options and things like that. Um, Yeah, Foden's gonna probably destroy me today, but it is what it is. We'll just have to hope that Haaland does well. Kelleher, I can't confirm Kelleher starts, but I still think he does because Allison seems to be a little bit delayed in terms of his sort of comeback. Maybe Allison will probably start and give me 34 instead. Is Ederson starting? We don't know that, unfortunately. No leaks confirmed on Ederson. Start Kelleher or Petrovic. I'd go Kelleher personally. I have much more faith in the Liverpool defense than Chelsea. Foden, Salah, who's better captain? I'd still probably say Salah just about. Honestly, it's pretty close. I'd say Foden potentially. Would you captain Foden now? Yeah, I'd strongly considering captaining Foden for sure. Start Aitnuri or Gusto. I'd probably go Aitnuri. Tony to Haaland -4. I don't think it's worth it. I would just play Tony. Bench by Tarkowski or Branthwaite. I'll just go Branthwaite, save yourself some money. Tony to Haaland -4, as I said, not worth it. Guardiola does start, that's correct. Rico Lewis also starts too. Start Gabriel or Gusto. I'd go Gabriel. Please captain Foden. I don't even have Foden to captain, my friend. Zinchenko starts this week. I wouldn't be so sure about it. It depends on how you think, because I think, the interesting thing is that Zinchenko played quite well when they were trying to stabilize the game versus Bayern Munich, right? So if the plan is to play Zinchenko to start versus Bayern Munich, maybe it makes sense to go Kiwior versus Aston Villa. Salih says, hey Fran, with the super chat, Son to Luis Diaz, then back for Game 35. Yeah, I think that makes sense, to be honest. New leaks, Fran, Ederson, KDB. Do we have new leaks? Let me have a look. I can't see the Ederson KDB leaks. I can't see the Ederson KDB leaks. Where are you guys seeing the Ederson KDB leaks? Am I getting baited again? Probably, right? No. All I can see is Foden, Holland start, Guardiola starts, Lewis starts, and that's pretty much it. That's all we've seen so far. Yeah, tough situation, but I think that's it. Is Lewis starting? Lewis is starting, yep. Muniz or Sarabia to start. I'd probably go with Sarabia. Just take the penalty taker, given that they're both away from home. Oh, sorry, you're right. Main Road did actually say Ederson and KDB do start. Ederson is back. Ederson is back. Our main man, Ederson, is back. Yeah, you're right. There is another leak. It's from Main Road. Let me just adjust my pinned message. I'll just do Foden, Holland, KDB, Ederson. This is a strong team. Such a strong team. Yep, I've changed the pin message, guys, so that all the leaks are reflected right now. Gordon or Bradley, I'd play Gordon still. I'd take the attacker. By Tarkowski or Branthwaite, I'd just go Branth. Is double Brentford defense too premature? I mean, it's not premature. Like, this is the best fixture potentially for a Brentford defense, so it's not bad. I'd go for it. You should cap Salah. Holland will be taken off early. Yeah, but the thing is, Holland taking off early could still mean that he completely decimates the Luton team, you know? There's no guarantee that Salah's going to play 90 minutes, 95 potentially. Because Salah was also subbed on pretty early versus Atalanta, so he's played a fair bit of minutes this week. By Rico Lewis or Reguilon, I'd probably go Rico Lewis. If you wanted a 1 week punt, I'd probably go Rico Lewis. And honestly, it seems like Rico Lewis could play the next game too, so I'm not too concerned about Rico Lewis's minutes in the short term since they're wildcard 35. Will Akanji most likely start? I think so, because Akanji, yeah, you just have Lewis in it. Lewis in advanced position. Let me try to think about this. Let me think about that. Because I guess in that situation, the interesting thing would be, like you'd have maybe Alvarez is benched. I'm not sure. You have Holland, you have Doku, maybe Bob plays on the wings, maybe Foden plays, maybe Alvarez is benched. Lewis plays. Rodri said he wanted a rest, so maybe Kovacic plays, and then you have Guardiola, Diaz, Akanji. Yeah, I think Akanji can play. It does depend on maybe Alvarez could play a wing position, but I'm not sure if he's very good at playing a wing position. All things considered, does KDB limit Foden as a captain? Only if Foden's shifted out wide, basically. Bench order: Ait Nuri, Gusto, Huang. I'd probably go Ait Nuri, Gusto, Huang in that order. Because I can't confirm that Huang starts, right? So I think it's pretty risky. Tony's confirmed something as well. Tony says, Ederson's good to go as well. So Ederson is good to go. So Ederson is back. Ederson is back. Which is very, very big news. Pedro or Tony? What do you mean? Like, are you like wild carding? Are you free hitting? Like, I don't know what your strategy is. I'd probably say Tony for this week, but Pedro, if you, oh my god, the deadline passed. Nah, sorry about that. I literally forgot about the deadline because I had nothing to do. Too late. I was just reading for leaks because in the last second, but yeah. I mean, we already confirmed that Ederson was going to start, so that's mad. Whew. Like or subscribe, yeah. If you guys could like and subscribe, that'd be lovely. It's over. Good luck, everyone. What are my plans for the next few game weeks? Yeah, so Everton defenders very quickly next week, just so we can get like 3 defenders for next week. In the midfield, I'd probably be playing Saka, Lucia, Salah, probably Palmer reluctantly, and I'll play Solanke, Haaland, Muniz probably too. You made a last-minute change from Son to Solanke to start. Hopefully it pays off. Oh, I think that's fair. I think this isn't a great game for Son. This is a great game for Solanke, if we're being honest. Ortega would have been so nice for the wild card. Now that we know Ederson's back, I mean, who knows? What if Ortega's the cup keeper? Nah, I'm kidding, but yeah. You gambled right, Ryan. You're over Gabriel. Fair enough. Good luck with that. Can you hold Sarabia for the rest of the season? I think you can. Am I based in the UK? Yeah, I'm based in London. But yeah. Good luck, everyone. Did a lot of people go Foden? What's wrong with captaining Foden? If you know Foden starts, I think he's a very interesting captaincy. First goalkeeper transfer. Did you go Ederson? Nice. Man, if Haaland doesn't cook this Luton defense, I'm actually going to genuinely consider selling this man. Like, Fran with a guaranteed green arrow this week. Honestly, if this team doesn't get a green arrow, I might actually consider quitting FPL because I don't know what else I have to do for a green arrow at this moment in time. I've got 10 home fixtures, and then the one person who doesn't have a home fixture is Heung-min Son. So I'll be pretty tilted. Is Luis Diaz a must-have? I don't think he's a must-have at all. I mean, the weakness in my team is I don't have Foden, right? I could have gone Son. If I really wanted the strongest team possible this week, I guess I could have gone Son to Foden. But as you guys know, I don't have a wild card, so it doesn't really make sense to go out of Son to Foden, unless obviously Son miraculously gets injured, and I cry a lot. But yeah, that's the only spot I would say. On to Free at 34. Good luck to you guys. Free at 34 content will be coming to you guys soon. Yeah, a lot of people are very similar team. Yeah, but I still think I've got a slightly stronger team because of Guardiola and Flecken. I mean, everyone has a similar team, but it's not like we're all at the same rank. Like we all like to say blah 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 as template, but like there's people with a similar team that are top 10. Some people top 10,000. Some people top 100,000. Some people top 1 million. So, we all say that we have the same team, but it's just not true. Yeah. There are very strong teams in my rank. You're right. Yeah. Obviously, the average teams are very good, but I'm pretty confident that my team is stronger than most people's teams this week, for once. Let's see. Triple captain Salah 34. I think that's a lock. What's my team value? I think technically my sell value is 104.7. But good luck to all of you guys. I've actually got to meet a friend of mine today, which I'm really happy about. Haven't seen her for around 5-6 years, so that will be really cool. And yeah, I'm gonna plan to head out. Also watch a bit of football later on. I hope you guys enjoyed this game week. I hope you get your good green arrows. Content will be coming very very shortly for your free hitters. Nah, it's not a date. I'm married, so yeah. What about Muniz? What do you mean, like in terms of what I plan to do with him? Oh, you mean Muniz could do well like off the bench? Yeah, I mean if he does well off the bench, it is what it is. I'll take it on the chin like I do every week. So yeah, take care, guys. Hope you guys have a good game week, and